Hey, welcome to Behind the Pages. Happy Sunday, folks. I hope that you are all having an amazing weekend. I am really excited. I really don't love the bi-weekly schedule I'm on because there is so much that happens in that 2 week time frame that I be wanting to share with y'all. I be wanting to tell y'all, but it's okay. I guess I can wait. But good evening. Thank you to all who are in the room. Hey, Cuzzo. Hey, my CEO. I see you, beautiful. I love her. I'm telling you, she gonna ride for me. She gonna show up for me no matter how tired she is. I promise you. Tiffany is going to be here. Shout out to the Phoenix. So good to see you, Cuzzo. So as I mentioned, 2 weeks. It's a long time between episodes, but I have to do better in preserving my energy and making sure that I'm doing the right things this time around. And so, as much as I love this podcast, and as excited as I am to celebrate other writers and authors in the independent literary space, I am going to be obedient and I'm only going to do this show bi-weekly. So for those of you who hit me up last Sunday, like, hey, why isn't the episode live? It is a bi-weekly show. So we're here every other Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. But we're super excited to be here tonight because I have a dope author coming to talk to y'all. Okay. She from Florida. So the energy is already dope, right? Okay. So let me tell y'all what happened. I had the pleasure, my cousin Tiffany and I, the Phoenix and I had the pleasure of being vendors this year at Black Writers Weekend. We had applied in the past and just wasn't accepted, but for whatever reason, God's favor got us in the room this year. And the room was full of really amazing writers, literary influencers, independent authors of all kinds. I'm talking novelists. There were people there who do erotica, romance novels. I mean, it was all kinds of writers. But y'all know that I'm in the space of healing. I'm a narrative healing coach. And so I immediately was drawn to the other people and the other authors in the room who are in a similar lane. And this young lady, let me tell y'all. First of all, her smile can light up a room. That's the first thing I noticed about her. She was smiling at the person she was with, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, she has a gorgeous smile." So then I went around the room, introducing myself to all the other authors, the other vendors that were there. And when I got to her booth, it just, I don't know if it's the healing space that we're both in. I don't know if it's just because she got dope energy. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know. But whatever it was, I was immediately drawn to her. So, of course, I supported her book, let her know that I was launching this podcast and I would love to have her on. And she's here, y'all. She made it to Behind the Pages. So, before I bring her out, I am going to read her brief bio. So, my guest tonight is an author who proves that while there may be no manual for pain, you can absolutely emerge with a heart reclaimed to heal. My guest took her pain, turned it into purpose, and is now helping others rewrite their narratives after trauma and loss. Drawing on her own journey of survival, she speaks boldly about emotional wounds and the courageous work of starting again. She stands as a beacon of hope and a testament that brokenness is never the end of the story. Please help me welcome to Behind the Pages independent author impact podcast, Miss Nicole Heath. Where is the beautiful Nicole? Hello, sis.
Hey sis, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
Welcome to the space. It's so great to see your beautiful face here tonight. I'm so excited to have you on.
I am excited to be here.
Yes. So I know I did a brief intro. I know I shared your bio online, but I would love for you, before we jump into our icebreaker and the rest of the show, for you to just to introduce yourself to our gems and gents. Let them know who you are.
Yes. I am author Nicole Heath. I am, as she stated, from Florida. We did connect in Atlanta, of course. Um, I am on a journey of writing my growth, and
Mm,
it comes from a place of pain. So I have released um upcoming release, No Manual for Pain, but my
mhm.
already release is A Heart Reclaimed to Heal, and it is a raw and journey that I can't even explain, but I'm gonna explain it to you tonight.
Yeah.
It comes from a relationship of abuse. It comes
Mm.
from emotional survival of the, you name it. I've been through
Mm.
it.
Wow.
Betrayal. It's I'm ready.
Yeah. Well, listen, I got to read some of it, y'all. So this is the first book that she's referring to. This is A Heart Reclaimed to Heal. There is so many gems in these pages. There is so much power in these pages. But I think what I appreciated most was your transparency. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that later in the show. As a narrative healing coach, as someone who uses stories to heal, I often come across similar books where the person is so withholding, like they're only sharing the parts that are um not as easily to judge, right? It's not as easy for us to form our opinion, but you like put it all on these pages. And so I really am excited for you to share that. But before we get into the discussion, I have a tradition here on Behind the Pages where we start the show with our segment called I'd Write Those Pages. So, this is the time where we pick any current event, anything happening, anything trending, anything going on in media that you would actually write a book on. So, whatever it is, it could be about No King's Day that was a success this weekend, or as I mentioned, the fact that people trying to come from for Ashanti because she has a mom body now. Whatever it is, what would you write about?
I'm gonna go a political way. I would write about government shutdown
Mm,
and people losing jobs
yeah.
and how they can set themselves up outside of having a 9 to 5 job.
Mm,
Because when you think about it, when we think about it, not being able to work, how you providing for your kids, how you providing for your families, how
that part.
you insurance.
Hmm.
Everything is not easy out here.
Yeah.
Mortgage is high. Mortgage is high. Your bills sky high. Electric bill high. So if I had to
Hmm.
talk about anything, it would be how to overcome a 9 to 5.
That's good. That's good. I think that's something people would appreciate. I remember when COVID first hit, because I had been working from home for almost 10 years by that time, I was able to be a specialist and an expert online, letting people know, like, this is what you do. This is how you adjust to working from home. So
This,
I think that that is an amazing idea because there are so many people in a place of panic. They don't know that they can take some of their gifts and they can take some of the things that they do naturally and hustle it, right? Like hustle
you,
your hobby almost while you're waiting for things to normalize. Because I'm more stabilized, I should say, because they're never going to be normal again, but at least
no,
stabilized. So that would be a dope read. I would definitely read that. I would pick up that book, Nicole. I would get that. So listen, I'm ready to jump into the interview. I like to usually give folks a few minutes to get on, to get in here with us. For those who are with us live, do us a favor and share this because I'm telling you, this book is brilliant. This, but I'm not just saying that because she's a guest on here. I really enjoyed reading this. I think the event was like what, the end of August. I was finished this by the second week of September because I literally couldn't put it down. It was so good. And I like the writing style, which is very conversational. It was almost as if you were sitting across from me telling me your story versus me reading it. It didn't have much of a read feel. It had a talking to my sister and listening to
yeah,
what she's been going through kind of feel. So I really love that. So look, make sure that y'all go share this live, tag people that you know in this live that could really benefit from the conversation we're about to have on A Heart Reclaimed to Heal. Because some of us got brokenness that we just comfortable with. And her book is going to tell you how to put it down and pick up joy and self-love and all the things. So, all right. While they're getting in here, Nicole, while they're tagging people and telling their friends that you on with me tonight, let's jump right into our first segment, the title pages, or our second segment, actually, the title pages. Let's talk a little bit about you first. So, your bio mentions that your personal testimony blossomed into a mission. First of all, I love that. Like, that really resonated with me. But can you take us back to that shift? Like, Take us back to that moment when you realized your story needed to move beyond personal healing and become a movement for others and their healing.
So let me take you back um, to last year.
Okay.
Last year was a year of love. Because one thing is my best friend got married and I was in her wedding as her maid of honor. That's first. The second thing was when she came back from her cruise, on her honeymoon, my boyfriend at the time proposed to me. So
Congrats.
I am engaged right now.
Congrats.
So it's been about a year. Um, and with that being said, we have been dating since maybe 22.
Mhm.
And with that being said, the shift occurred in this same year, 2024.
Mhm.
I'll take you back a little bit before. So I got engaged in July.
Mhm.
In May, I went to church, and
Mhm.
I am into church. So
Mhm.
I'm God has writing my story right now.
Mhm.
With that story, I went to church and the pastor spoke to me. He
Mm.
told me that my testimony would save women.
Wow.
He told me that my life was going to shift. He
Mhm.
told me I couldn't go get these women unhealed. I had to go get them healed.
Mm.
So
Wow.
this is where my shift occurred. So that was May of 2024. July
Mhm.
of 2024, I was engaged. In
Mhm.
February, and in between July and February, I pulled back out my laptop, pulled back out my pen to finish writing my story because my ending part of my story that I had experienced
Mhm.
was love. And
Mm.
the ending piece was me getting engaged. So I
Wow.
had to add that to my book. Mind you, I had wrote my book years ago, but I never had a. It was missing a piece of the puzzle, the ending piece.
Wow.
So now life has shifted. In February of this year, I
Mhm.
was finishing up my release of my first book, A Heart Reclaimed to Heal. So
Mhm.
this is where everything starts. My love story starts. God has orchestrated my story.
Mm. Wow. That is so powerful. Like you went through it. You weren't considering doing anything other than sharing your story. And then when love was introduced into your life again, that's I don't know if y'all caught that or not. I caught all of that because if you out there waiting on love, how about you go to God and let him orchestrate the story for you? Okay. All right. So in that same vein, many people who experience trauma tend to turn inward, right? They go inward, either out of fear, they don't trust anyone, they don't no longer love themselves. I know for me, mine was lack of self-love. So I just kind of like self-destructed. That was my inward destruction. What gave you the courage to move from silence to strength? Like what gave you the courage to say, not only am I gonna get over or break through what I've been through, but it's going to be a public, vulnerable process because I'm going to share it with other people. Like, what was that like for you, deciding to put it in a book?
It it was uh, my journaling has helped me through my stages of my life. So
Yeah.
writing every day, writing down something every day, whether it was towards my book, because my book has been in me since years.
Hmm.
I'm talking over 3 to 5 years.
Wow.
So coming from that and trying to help somebody is where I came from. My
Yeah.
story can help somebody else. My story can save a woman that's dealing with this. My
Hmm.
story can save someone who's been abused. My story can save someone that's been through trauma. So
Hmm.
it comes from a place of I don't have anybody that I can trust. I don't
Hmm.
have anybody that I can talk to. And it's
Hmm.
not that to say you just don't have nobody to talk to. Sometimes it's just one of those things where you go silent.
Yeah.
You feel broken. You don't want to tell nobody the story because
Hmm.
you don't know how they gonna tell it to somebody else.
Mm.
When this pastor spoke to me in May of last year, he told me I had a shield over my heart because I couldn't trust people.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I was so full in that church and in that moment because everything that he spoke to me was
Mhm.
real.
Mhm.
So the place that I come from trying to help somebody, trying to not be in that dark place where you don't have somebody. Depression
Mhm.
and mental health is real,
Yep. Yep.
very real.
Yeah. Wow. That's so good that God sent you a word that just gave you what you needed to keep going forward. So I want to shift and I want to go between the pages because again, I've read the book. I'm hoping that others after seeing this interview will go and get the book and read the book. But I have very specific questions. These are my questions because I read the book. And so I was like, I'm gonna throw some of my own stuff on there. You know what, before we talk about your new book, I want to kind of focus on this book. You talk about domestic violence in the book. You talk about grief. You talk about emotional wounds. Um, I feel like so many people hear those from a trending standpoint, whether they've experienced them or not, and they either one discredit them or they overemphasize parts of them. Where I think your story was so like perfect in showing what the physical pain did to you, but also the emotional pain of what you went through did to you. Because I think we ignore one or the other. We address the bruises and we leave the broken heart, and it's like, but both of them hurt. And so, anyway, that's what I loved most about your book. I think that was in what, like chapter 3 or 4. But anyway, let me not go off on a tangent. Let me get to my question. For the person who is still living between the pages, right? They're still living in what you wrote about, their own trauma, the trauma caused by others. What is the single most important action that you would encourage them to take that you yourself took as you were coming out of your story?
Letting go
Mm,
and getting the courage to let go.
yeah.
Because sometimes as women, whether we realize it or not, we get stuck in situations. We don't know
Yeah.
whether to turn right or left. We don't know how to
Mhm.
get out. We don't know who to go to help us out.
Yeah.
Um, I encourage women to talk to therapists. I encourage women to find people that they can trust, that they can talk about situations.
Yeah.
Because I domestic violence is very real,
Yeah.
and it can take you to a place of strong grief, strong trauma, strong not trusting anybody, giving you a place where it's hard to even breathe.
Yeah. Ooh.
That's deep, very deep. So if I had to encourage anybody, letting go and finding yourself is most important, because when you find yourself, like my story is, God
Yeah.
gonna write your story.
Yeah. Come on.
God gonna write your story. God's gonna put that pen in his hand and he's gonna write the story.
Hmm. Wow.
So it's deep. It's deep. And I encourage anybody, if they dealing with domestic violence, please get out. Please find the nearest door to get out of.
Yeah. There's a part in that same chapter that I'm referring to where you talk about like reclaiming your identity. What was that part like for you? Once you got out and you're on the other side of it where you're starting your healing work, was that a simultaneous work, like reclaiming your identity and, you know what I'm saying, healing? Or did one have to happen before the other could happen? Like, did you have to kind of heal your heart and then start to work on your identity again?
Yes. So I had to reclaim my identity and then heal.
Mm,
Because
wow.
if you're not reclaiming your identity, you're not
Hmm.
gonna be able to go on that healing journey.
Mm,
That healing journey, it took writing to kind of help me heal. It
hmm.
took meeting somebody else to like allow you to breathe again,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
being able to be intentional about loving again.
Yeah.
So it's a place of no understanding.
Mhm. And when you, so I can't remember. I don't want to look. I don't want to go too deep into the book because I really want people to get it. But I want you to, because there was a part in here. Hold on, didn't I?
You finding the good parts in the book.
Okay, because listen, when I tell you I was all in this book, honey, I was in this book. So there's a part in here. Oh, I can't remember what chapter it is, but Nikki is leaving the restaurant. I think y'all were at uh Texas Roadhouse or something. I
Texas
can't remember because I
Roadhouse.
think I remember the restaurant because of the bread. But but there was a part in there that I really wanted you to share on, and shame on me for not highlighting it. But you were talking about forcing like that toxic positivity, even though the posture of your heart was heavy. And I can't remember how you worded it because you're the author. But the reason that stood out to me so much is because I could picture Nikki, the character in the book, smiling and eating and enjoying her time with everyone, but then all of a sudden that sadness settling back in when it was time to go. And there was something so significant where you describe her exit and her leaving and that heaviness. The reason I feel led to kind of pause there is because so many of us have mastered toxic positivity, and it really is disruptive to our healing. And I'm not saying we got to go around like, I'm angry, I'm hurt, I'm upset, my trauma is and wounds are starting to hurt in this moment. But what can we do? What can people like Nikki do, yourself? What can we do to like allow ourselves to feel what we're feeling and maybe lean more on the people we're around in that moment? Like, what would you what would you suggest someone who's hurting and dealing with trauma but around people, how would they be able to handle that and say, yo, I'm not in a good space but I'm still here with y'all?
We
Like, I
have
don't know
to.
if that's coming out right, but
It
I want you to
is.
go into that.
So we have to be vulnerable and
Yeah.
open to say I'm hurting, because
Hmm.
for me and Nikki in the book, she hides it.
Yes.
She has a place of smiling when she in pain, smiling when she hurting, smiling when she going through trauma, smiling
Yeah.
when she going through grief. So we have to learn to deliver that and say, "Hey, I'm hurting. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm not in a good place. Hey," instead of shutting down. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm still on a journey of learning of how not to shut down when you're going through that trauma, or when you're going through that pain, and when you're going through that grief. So if I had to encourage anybody on this live or anybody on the interview, I would say deliver what you're going through. Be vulnerable
Mm.
about what's going on in your life, even if it's
Wow.
making you hurt, even if it's hurting you. But we have
Hmm.
to be open. And in that segment of the book that she's speaking about Nikki, she had to learn how to be positive around her.
Uh-oh. That's all right. We're gonna get her back. But I was talking about chapter, I think it is, I think I was right. It's in chapter 3 or 4. I think it was. While Nicole is coming back, for those of you who have the book, I think it was in chapter 3 or 4 where she sets up the scene where the girl Nikki is like out with friends and she's not in a good space. And instead of saying she's not in a good space, she's smiling and pretending that she's good. And then all of a sudden, when she's alone and in her car about to drive home, like all this self doubt, all this depression, all this grief, all this heaviness kind of overwhelms her. But she was literally just in the presence with people who could have supported her through that. And that's why I wanted Nicole to bring that up. She's back. Let me get her back on the stage for y'all. All right, welcome
Sorry,
back.
y'all.
That's all right. It happens. Listen, technology is unreliable, but go ahead. It was getting good. You was talking about she was smiling through all the things
She was
and how
smart.
those
So
films are real.
in the
Mhm,
book, when Nikki went on her first date,
mhm.
outside of the healing stage, she was on a date, and it the exit that she was going on was coming from her actual date. but the
Mm,
pain was there. So when I speak about
mm,
pain, it's delivers to someone, even that somebody that you may not know, deliver your pain to them, because it may.
mm,
And when you speaking to somebody, I could be speaking to you, but I can be helping you in a situation, and you don't even
mhm,
know.
mhm,
Because
mm.
if I tell you that I'm hurting because someone did something to me, but you tell me how to handle it, you could be helping me.
That's right. That's right. So when you say we should deliver our pain to someone, should it be someone we trust, almost like an outcry, or should it just be someone that we can count on that'll listen? Because sometimes people that are closest to us don't listen. Them the ones that ain't listening.
um, yes, that is true too. That I believe that it should be somebody that you can trust, though, honestly,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
trusting is very hard to win in situations. Trusting is hard.
Mhm. Yeah. No, you're right. That's a good point. So I want to talk a little bit about your upcoming book, and we'll talk more about it later in our final segment, in the final pages. But let's talk about the title of your upcoming book. Because when you sent me the title, I said, "Sis, now come on now," because y'all know how I feel about book titles. I judge a book by its title, not by its cover. When I
Yeah.
read that title, I said, "Oh yes, I'm going to read that one." But there's no manual for pain. That is so powerful. That is such a powerful book title. What did that realization or that absence of a guide for you as you were coming through your situation that you wrote about in your first book? How did that kind of encourage you to create this lifeline for people? Because that's what I look at it as. This book gonna be a lifeline for people who have no clue how to process pain. Like, what was the
So
moment for you that said you want to do it? Go ahead.
So the moment that I decided to write No Manual for Pain is because it comes from a grief moment. It comes from losing
Mm,
people. It comes from
wow.
losing people to death. So that's where that comes from. But there is no instructions. There is no manual how you grieve. There is no manual of what's your timeline in your grieving moment. There is no
Mhm,
instructions. There is no manual for it. You grieve on your own terms.
mhm, mhm,
That comes from whether it's trauma or it comes from whether it's losing death. There is no instructions, but I've been
mhm.
in a place where I've lost people that meant the world to me. So
Wow.
that's where I'm sorry, I knew I was gonna do this. Whew. um
Okay.
I come from a place where I lost my mom at 10.
Wow. I'm sorry.
I lost my grandmother that raised me at after age 30. So I come from a level of just losing people that is connected to me that means so much. But
Yeah.
there is no instructions to getting over that.
Yeah. Wow. That is really
So
powerful.
that is where that comes from as far as writing that book.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get my words together before I start
I'm
crying. But
sorry.
no, don't apologize. I'm emotional because I just a week ago was my sister's 10th anniversary since she passed. And so, like you said, it's been a decade, and yet there's no rules to this. Grief
There,
literally just bombards your life when it feels like it. I have days where I'm like, I'm good. And then I have days where I am literally falling apart. And like you said, there's no guidance, there's no manual. Like, there's the grief process, like people always telling you what the process is, like that you can google that and find the cycle of grief and the process of grief and what grief looks like, but no one says, well, then how do you handle all of those stages? Do
I
they go
literally,
in order?
yes, I literally had somebody tell me they didn't know how I would grieve.
Mm, wow.
You're not going to know because there is no manual. I could take years, I could take months. I'm still grieving my mama and my grandma to this day. But,
Yeah.
you know, they in my heart, and I carry them with me every day, but there is no manual for that.
Wow. So can you tell us a little bit? Like, I don't want you to give it away because we're gonna go get that book. We're gonna go buy the book and support you. Because I can't wait to get my hands on it. But I'm just curious, like, are you providing practical steps? Are you more so sharing your story? Like, tell us a little bit about it.
So just a little bit about it. It is my story of losing three women that were connected to me.
Wow.
But in the ending, it shares how you can help yourself and deliver yourself from unscripted healing.
Mm. Unscripted healing. Honey, that's loaded. Oh, that's so good. That is so good. We ain't gonna ask you to give away too much of the book, but we will find out at the end of this interview when it drops, where we can get it and how we can support. But I want to move into turning the pages. We gonna talk a little bit about turning the pages. It's a little different than between the pages.
Yes.
So, your first book is A Heart Reclaimed to Heal. In the context of your writing, what does reclaim truly mean to you? Like, walk us through, is that forgiveness? Was it self acceptance? Or is it something else entirely when you say reclaiming your heart?
So reclaiming my heart means a lot. Um, with it being said, it is reclaiming myself outside of a
Mm,
relationship. It's reclaiming myself. Or as a woman reading is a woman reclaiming herself. Whether it's through strength, whether it's through healing, whether it's just self love. Um, Certain times we need to just learn how to love ourselves more than loving a man. I love my man, but we have to learn how to love ourselves first before we can love a man. So
mhm,
that is the part of reclaiming yourself, reclaiming your identity alone.
mhm. Mm, that is good. I love where you said learning to love yourself outside of a man, because honey, that'll preach by itself. Like, we'll get ourselves together for the relationship, but what about getting yourself together for you? So that's so good. Um, the core of this book, from my vantage point as I read it and my understanding, is it suggests healing is a process, which you know I'm an advocate for, not an event. And I love the way you put that in the book. Like, healing is indeed a journey and it's a process. It's something that you work on. It's not something you arrive at. Can you share from one of the chapters, one of your lessons, like, on the healing process and what you think readers should take from it as you position it in the book?
So I position healing in the book as restoring yourself, as far as just coming from a domestic violence abusive relationship.
Yeah.
You have to go on a healing journey. You have
Yeah.
to. There's no way around that. And I had to heal myself outside of um, going through abuse, going through manipulative situations with a man, like emotional, verbal, physical abuse. Coming from that, you have to heal. You have
Yeah.
to go on a journey of healing. My healing journey consisted of me going to therapy, me going to God, me writing in my journal. If I had to encourage anybody, talk to somebody. Don't just, like I said earlier, please talk to somebody. Find somebody that you can trust to talk to,
Yeah.
because it on your healing journey, it turns into you battling with yourself in the future or yourself in the
Mhm.
past.
Mhm. Mm. Okay, wait. We got to park right there. Hold on. This is not one of my questions, but that's so good. If you don't do the healing work now, you'll battle your old self or your future self. That is a whole word. Can you please just take us into a deeper understanding of that? Like, what does that look like for someone who refuses to do the healing work, who just believes they'll get over it with time? They're not going to do any intentional work like going to therapy or writing in their journal or praying or anything. They just going to let time deal with it. What does that look like from a destructive standpoint and either ruining and fighting with their future self or their old self? Oh, that's so good.
That's a fight alone, because you're fighting with, if you stay in that situation or stay stuck where you are, you
Mm,
dealing with the past situation. You may not heal yourself enough to go love another man, because you're stuck in
mm,
what your back process is. So your past situations, your future self, if you healing in your future self, you know how to, you've been on a journey, you've been on healing and journey just with yourself. But
mhm.
battling with past and future, there's no understanding. There,
Yeah.
you want to grow, you want to be better than yourself, your past self. If I had to say anything about my journey, where I am right now, I'm engaged. I'm building with the relationship that I once wanted a long time ago, but I
Mhm.
couldn't get it from that person that I was with. So
Mm,
I want a family. He's willing to give me a family. So
mhm.
it's just going on this journey of future. It looks
Mhm.
better than my past.
Come on. And if you don't get out of your way, you won't be able to accept those things. You know what I mean? Like the fact
I
that you were
I've
able to be engaged again.
I've accepted what I've been through, because my
Yeah.
what I've been through, it looks nothing like my future.
Yeah. Man, that's good. Okay. I have one more question before we move on. Before we move on to the blank pages. From the perspective of an independent author, you published your book by yourself. You know what I'm saying, you made the investment in your own story, which I am so here for. That's a whole different conversation why I prefer that. But what impact do you hope this book and No Manual for Pain has on readers, in terms of like what traditional healing books may not offer them? What do you feel like your books are going to offer?
My book's gonna offer. Uh, well, let's put them into perspective. So, a heart reclaimed to heal is gonna save women.
Mm,
My plan is to save
mhm,
women from relationships that I may have experienced, or not even, maybe not me, someone else has experienced. I
mhm,
want to save women from going down that path that I went down and was stuck
yeah.
in. So that's where that comes from. I hope to save women. I mean, I want to go to a domestic violence shelter. So it's a lot of things that I have upcoming that I want to do to help women and put
Mhm,
myself in a position where I can talk to women and encourage them. Don't battle with domestic violence. Don't go that route. Find yourself. Find love. Find, if it's being lonely for the rest of your life, not tradition, but if that's what I told God back in the day, I was gonna be single for the rest of my life.
mhm.
But God had other plans. So
That part.
God had other plans for me. So if I have to say that, that's what I would say about that book. As far as No Manual for Pain, if anyone has ever experienced a pain that is unexplainable, that book is gonna help you,
Yeah.
because
Wow.
loss is real.
Mhm. Woo, you ain't lying.
Loss
Um,
is real.
I'm really looking forward to that one. I really am looking forward to that book. So I want to transition to our segment, the blank pages, where I get to hear more about what you're working on, what future self is going to do. Because we just talked about not battling with future self because you healed. So ain't no fight between y'all. As a writer and a speaker, you are constantly pouring out, you're constantly giving and inspiring others. What does creative renewal look like for you? Like, where do you go? How do you retreat? How do you recharge before facing, another group of women who need your story?
Well, first I would say God first before anything. But I kind of let myself go as far as thinking what's next. I kind of just go with the flow, and be ready for whatever it is that may come to me. As far as the creative style, um, that's how I recharge. Just
Yeah.
relax.
Yeah, that's good. No, no, that's so good. I was talking to another author who's going to be on in a couple of weeks, and he was like, "Oh, I'm just so busy. I'm so busy, and all this stuff." And I'm like, "Listen, hustle culture and grind culture is a trick of the enemy. It
Listen, I work a 9 to 5, so I have to recharge.
and it's such an important part of our journey is resting. And I'm not saying that from a judgmental standpoint because I didn't always master resting at all. I used to think the most that I do, the more successful. The more I'm resting, the more God is doing. And then all I got to do is wake up and, you know what I'm saying? And like
Yes,
do my part. So I love
yes.
that. So looking ahead, right? Looking ahead, you're engaged, you have a marriage to prepare for and a wedding to prepare for. You have this new book coming out. Um, in this next iteration of your movement, right, in your commitment to helping women to heal, whether they have had likeness in your same situation or they've been through something else, what are some of the things that you're hoping to do? I know you mentioned domestic violence outreach at a women's facility, but what other things do you see your movement leading you into?
I do see my movement leading me into a foundation, that I should be opening very soon.
Mhm.
I also see that I will be visiting some shelters, whether it's in Florida or um, near Florida, should I say, near Florida or Georgia, excuse me.
Mhm.
So those are the couple upcoming, and I am releasing No Manual for Pain. It should be out by my birthday, but my editor may have to push it back until December. So those are my upcoming things.
Yes, that's real soon. That's coming up real soon if you release it. Okay. And then how can people support you? How can they rally behind you and begin supporting what you're doing?
So I am on Facebook as author Nicole Heath. I'm also on Instagram, but my title on my Instagram name is at BLKAngel321. Those are the ways you can find me right now. And my
Okay.
website is upcoming as well.
Excellent. So you have the new book coming out. You're starting a foundation. Have you thought of a name for the foundation? Something we can look for? Are you still praying about that? Like where we
Still
at with the
praying,
foundation?
still praying,
Okay.
still.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. So, we're getting ready to move into the final pages. This is one of my favorite parts, not because it's the end. It's my favorite part because I get to hear, your thoughts and what it is you want to share with people. So, first, I have two questions, and then I just want you to share, like free form sharing. Um, if you could write one final memorable sentence that captures the essence of your books and your life's purpose for everyone listening tonight, what would that final page say?
Hmm. Ooh, you gave me a good one.
Uh-oh. The devil is such a hater. Okay, well, when she comes back, we're going to hear what her final page thoughts would be. I'm excited to hear them, but I will use this as a shameless plug for her to encourage y'all to go buy this book. This was such a good read. Um, I don't know, like, I didn't know what to expect when I read it, but when I began reading it, it immediately like draws you into this life of this girl, Nikki, and all that she's going through. And it makes you like immediately feel, but also see her for the person she is. So I just want y'all to know this is a real good book. And if you can go cop it, it's available. I think it's on Amazon. Or you can reach out to her on Instagram. I think her Instagram was BLK. Oh, she's back. I'll let her tell y'all. But okay. All right. Go ahead, girl. You was telling us your final pages.
So my final page would be, ooh, You want to make me think right now. Always be ready for a shift, and it starts with healing.
Mm, that is good. That is good. Listen, you can tell my age. We still snap. Listen, my age bracket. So I was just sharing with them before, we wrap up the show. I really, really want to encourage people to get this book. I think that reading this story will likely set them up to understand the perspective you'll be writing from in No Manual for Pain. Um, what is the last pitch that you would share to encourage men and women? Because I really want some of the fellas to read this. I think a lot of what I read in here, I see men benefiting as well, really being able to understand the perspective of a woman and what women have been through and why we can come off as difficult in our next relationship, considering what we're still healing from in the last. So, with that said, what would you say to encourage our listeners tonight to go get this book?
So if I had to say anything to let's men, um, is when you receive a woman, don't think that she's being so hard on you about things. It's just some things that's what she has experienced.
Mhm.
Because that can be a battle for your relationship. That can
Yeah.
be a battle when it comes to your perspective. So one thing you all have to do is sit down and learn how to love each other, and
Mm.
that will make your relationship better in the end. Is you learning how to love each other, because you're not learning how to do her, how her past was, or vice versa. So you learning how to love each other in what y'all are in currently, as far as your relationship.
Mm.
As far as encouraging women, like I said, don't get stuck in situations with people that may not mean you any good, as far as domestic violence or abuse.
Mhm.
Get out, talk to people, get encouragement, whether it's family, friends, um, even a therapist. Talk to people. Don't get stuck in situations like that. I'm available to talk to if you need to contact me. But definitely when it comes down to your relationship, and be intentional about learning about the other person, because sometimes you meet people and you expect a you out of another person, and it's not.
Mm. That truth. That truth. Okay, I know I said that was my last question. I lied. I got one more. I got one more question. Okay. There's this misunderstanding about healing, right? Because healing has become more of a trend than an action. It's become more of a profession than a or something that people profess, is what I wanted to say, more than an actual practice. What would you say to those who are telling people that they need to heal before they date or they need to heal before they get another relationship? What would you say to them? Being now
I
engaged, what would you say?
I would say practice healing. Because when it comes down to healing, like you say, it is an act. When you're practicing healing, you have to be by yourself and not
Mm,
jump in another relationship. You have to heal yourself by being by yourself and giving yourself self love. As a woman, you do. And
mhm,
that self love can be just you maybe even journaling, or you
mhm,
speaking to somebody about some things that you've experienced, so you don't utilize them in your next relationship. um,
mm,
you could be learning that from a woman's perspective, because that is very vital in your next relationship, is for you
yeah.
to be healed. I can't go and be in a relationship with somebody unhealed.
Mm,
So in that I would say healing it can be a plethora of things. As far as
mhm,
healing, I utilize my writing my books as healing. I
mhm,
utilize journaling for my healing. I
mhm,
utilize even just typing and just writing things down, maybe an affirmation. I
mhm,
utilize that to help me heal, because that was better. I use self love, take myself out to eat before. a man could take me out to eat, or
Mhm.
I utilize different things for healing, because
Yeah.
healing is definitely something that is needed. Like I say, trauma and grief is very heavy, but you need to
Mhm.
heal when you go into certain situations. And I'm still learning right now, going in my engaged life, that healing is definitely needed for your relationship.
Mhm. Yeah, that's so good. And I like that because healing is not linear. There are going to be different phases in life that you heal a different part of yourself. You know, like you just said, like there's a part of you that you healed as a single woman. Now there's a part of you that you're going to heal as a fiance. And I'm sure there'll be things that you'll start healing as a wife, right? That these things don't come up until you're in that designation or situation. So I absolutely love that. Listen, this has been such a great conversation. I have been inspired. I am encouraged. I'm really excited about your next book. I need your next book. And so please, again, just remind our listeners how they can connect with you and where they can purchase your books.
So my books currently are on Amazon platforms. Heart Reclaim to Be Heal is also on Barnes and Noble platform, and it will be on my website upcoming. As far as connecting with me for Facebook, I am author Nicole Heath on there, so please connect with me.
Yes. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. You know, since we've connected in August, it has been a constant outreach. Can I have you on the show? Can I have you on the show? Can I have you on the show? Because you have such just a wonderful light. And I do believe that a lot of women will be encouraged to begin their healing journey because of the bravery and the courage in your story. So thank you for sharing that with not just my gems and gents here on Behind the Pages, but with the world. And I just truly believe that God is going to expand your reach because of how authentic and genuine your story is. And you can hear in the pages that you're trying to help others. So I have a heart for that. And so I truly appreciate you. Any final thoughts you want to share with the audience before I let you go and I close out the show?
I just want to tell everybody to be encouraged in any journey of your life, whether it is relationships, friendships, healing journey. Just be encouraged, because your life can do a 360 and do a shift. So I just want to
Mhm.
encourage anybody that's on that journey, because I have a lot of book people that are writing right now. So I want you to stay encouraged on your journeys.
Mhm. That is so good. Yeah. Shout out to all the indie authors here to tell their stories. Well, Nicole, it has been such a pleasure to have you on. I'm going to send you backstage and close out the show, but I'm so glad that you were able to be here on Behind the Pages.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. Listen, I've been trying to get sis on the show since the day I met her. And so I'm so glad that she was able to join. I hope that you were encouraged by something you heard about her story or something that she shared with you tonight. Again, I am a fan of the book. I have read this book and it is such a powerful story. We know that, DV is not new to our community, but there is still power in those who have overcome it and inspiring you to find your courage to leave. And so please get your hands on this book, get your copy, as she mentioned, on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, or just reach out to her and get a copy because, honey, mine is autographed. You may want to go ahead and get yours autographed because when she big and famous, okay, you gonna want to say I knew her when. So go ahead and do that. Next time we will be right back here, same time, same network, same platform. We have an amazing male author who has written a great book in helping men to properly love their women, whether you a wife, a boo thing, hopefully not a side chick. He is teaching you how to properly love Black women because we deserve it. And so I'm super excited to have him on. He will be joining me on November 2nd. Is that November the 2nd? I don't know. My math might be off, but y'all just come to the page. I will post it. I'm going to have him on. Y'all don't want to miss that conversation. Until next time, continue to write your story one healing page at a time. Y'all be great. Good night. Mwah.